Welcome to our first episode back of the Simple Life Chat. I'm Russ Morris, and today we're kicking off Series 4 with another resident takeover. Today we'll meet Brett, a radio presenter at Gaydio and a Havenswood resident. We'll hear his story of him moving to Manchester from Shropshire, finding himself in the big city, and what eventually brought him to Simple Life. We'll chat about it all, from dogs to arguments over wooden spoons, and why Brett is a comfortable renter and doesn't feel pressure to buy. Welcome to the Simple Life Chat. In this episode, this is where we find out more about a Simple Life tenant, a Simple Life resident. And today, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the Simple Life Chat, Brett Harris.
Hello.
Now, Brett, tell us a bit about you. First of all, tell us what you do before we get into how you became a Simple Life resident.
I am a radio presenter and producer. I am on Gaydio, which is the UK's LGBTQ plus station.
You've said that before, haven't you?
Yeah, too many times. But I've always loved radio, always loved media, showbiz, celebrities. I'm a bit of a pop culture vulture, and that's where I've wound up in Manchester. I'm from Shropshire originally, and when I was 21, I thought, no, I can't sit here in the fields and the tractors anymore. I need to get myself to a city, so I moved to Manchester when I was 21. Started working for some radio stations up in Manchester, and then joined Gaydio a few years ago, and then so that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So you weren't always a presenter though, were you? You were doing the behind the scenes stuff at first.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I come from all the behind the scenes. My background is Lidl. That was where I started, on the shop floor, stacking bananas at 5 o'clock in the morning. But then I decided that I wanted to get more involved in radio, and I used to work in some of the events teams, so doing some of that for a bit, some of the marketing for some of the stations, and then I decided to make the transfer into presenting after putting all of my skills to good use for about 6 or 7 years there. I thought, why not be a professional, the next Tom Bradby? So I went for it.
And how's that going?
Not very well, as you'd imagine.
Is it something you always wanted to do when you were doing your bananas in Lidl? Did you always think, I wanted...
Yeah.
Was it always in you, was it?
I'll be honest, yeah. I've always... my mum used to go mad at me when I was younger. I used to record little tapes on a karaoke machine, take the songs off the radio, and then record, pretending to present off it. So I think I've always been a bit of a nuisance, always been a little bit of a chatterbox. If you look through all my old school reports, you'll probably see a lot of my teachers saying Brett really likes to engage with discussion in the class, but could probably do with concentrating a little bit more. So that was always what I was reviewed by for my teachers when I was younger. But yeah, I think presenting was always something that I really wanted to do, and I think it just got to a point, you know, being in Lidl at 5 o'clock in the morning, stacking bananas, you realise that maybe this isn't the life that I need to live anymore. So, no offence to Lidl, I love Lidl. But, yeah.
And what was that move from sleepy Shropshire? Was it Market Drayton you were from?
Yeah.
So what was it like making the jump from sleepy Market? No, again, no offence to Market Drayton. I've been there. It's a lovely place. It's really nice.
For a retreat.
So what was it like when you moved to the big city? What was that like?
It was nice to go to a Morrison's that was open past 8 o'clock in the evening. But no, I think it was just nice to be able to go out, explore Canal Street, because there was no one like me growing up where I was from. So it was really nice to go and like maybe discover myself, make a brand new group of friends, because I feel like I've made quite a few good sturdy friends from back home, but I'd never really had like a big social circle. So I feel like there was an explosion of making friends, and then discovering my kind of people through radio, people that love a good laugh, love a good night out, and I feel like those are radio people and the media. So I've loved that since moving to Manchester, and I feel like there's just more opportunities as well. Like there's so much more going on in the city. There's, you know, even outside of radio, there's so many more events, there's so many more opportunities to meet people, and I'm a bit of a networker, a bit of a social butterfly. So for me, that was the exciting draw of Manchester. I mean, when I first moved to Manchester, I was commuting every day for like 2 hours from Market Drayton, getting stuck in traffic, falling asleep at Knutsford services. But it would it just opened up my eyes to being like, look, I need to move to the city, and that's how I arrived in Manchester.
And this is what I'm going to say. So when you first arrived in the big city, where did you live? What did you do?
I lived in Salford on Great Cheetham Street West in Lower Broughton, in a house share with about 5 or 6 other people.
Wow.
And I got into an argument actually with one of my former housemates about a wooden spoon. And basically, I bought a wooden spoon because, as you do when you move into your first little house share, you buy all your pots or buy all your pans. And I had a wooden spoon, and I left a pan out. Obviously, it had stains and stuff on. I left it out to soak overnight, washed everything else, and I came back from work the next day. I was a bit lazy. To a letter saying, "Please, can you make sure you do all of your washing up without leaving the house? And by the way, that wooden spoon is mine." So there was a bit of to and from for a couple of weeks, and then I eventually moved out of the house. But I thought, if I can't have a wooden spoon, no one is going to have them. Then I stole all the wooden spoons from the house. I don't know why I felt compelled to tell you that, but I'm a nightmare tenant.
Not that you hold any grudges or anything like that.
No, I like to move on with my life.
So, from that story, a house share was never going to work for you. And they serve a purpose, don't they, the house share? Especially when you're new to a city. In a way, they're quite good because you can make new friends and open a new network. And obviously, different people in a house share. But it's hard work, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is when
work.
they like wooden spoons.
So how long are you in the house share for then?
I was there for about 8 months, I think, 8 or 9 months, and it gave me a great opportunity to go out and meet other people, because obviously I didn't want to stay there, given the wooden spoon debacle. But it meant that I met who I currently live with, Charlotte, my housemate, and a great group of friends that I still hang around with today. So it gave me a good foundation, I'd say, in Manchester.
And when did you move to a Simple Life home then? When did that happen?
Ooh, that would have been in 2020, height of lockdown. Lockdown 3, I believe it was called, when we were all living in tears. So yeah, just
literally all in tears.
It was all in tears.
Yeah, we were, weren't we? So that must have been interesting in itself, like moving during lockdown. That couldn't have been fun.
Yeah, I mean, I did decide during lockdown to set up a drive-in cinema with my housemate. So setting up a touring drive-in cinema whilst getting a puppy and moving into a house was quite a stressful experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I guess the beauty of the Simple Life home means you didn't have to worry about getting yourself sorted in the... is it a flat you live in or a house?
It's a house.
Right, okay.
So we live in a new estate just in Salford. And it was quite nice to be welcomed with a welcome box from Simple Life when I first moved in that had like all of your essentials. I think there was something like toilet roll in there, which is essential. Everyone forgets about that when you move. So that was quite nice. There was also little foods, tea bags, that kind of thing. So you could have your first brew in your new house, which is kind of what you need after doing a drive-in cinema.
Yes,
at a big event.
Yeah, so we're in lockdown, we're all wearing masks, and you're spinning all these plates. That was tough.
It was really. I mean, I was put on furlough from my radio job, so and I'm just not one of these people that can sit still. And I thought I really want to do something creative, and I've had experience in events. So me and my housemate, who both have worked in events, thought, let's give this a whirl. And we won a grant from the Prince's Trust to be able to deliver these events. So we went across the Northwest. I think it was about 6 or 7 dates that we did. We screened Christmas favourites, so it was over November, December time. As a few months prior to that, I'd just got a dog as well. So having the dog, having a house move, which is why I needed to move in the first place, and doing a drive-in cinema, whilst being on furlough and not knowing whether I was going to get my job back in the new year, that was quite a time.
And wearing a mask.
A
lot going on there. So it must have been really nice walking into that Simple Life home. Obviously, was it brand new? Were you the first tenant?
Yeah.
You and Charlotte, your house.
Yes.
Mate. So you're a brand new tenant, straight in. That must have been amazing, right?
Very exciting feeling. I mean, getting that envelope, and we met the agents on the day, and there was 5 of us that were all moving in at the same time, and we all kind of went in with our envelopes, and it really was. I mean, it sounds a little bit crazy to say, but you know when you see like a competition winner on TV and you're like, oh my god, this is my house. And it was quite nice. And for us going from a flat with 2 bedrooms and a living room to having this massive open space, the garden for the dog, my bedroom, and we had a spare room as well with Charlotte living on the top floor. It was really nice to actually be able to not live so much on top of each other and be able to kind of relax straight away.
Yeah, and for me, it's when you go in and you've got a brand new kitchen. You know, like no one's marked the fridge. The oven is gleaming. It's that sort of thing.
Seeing a dishwasher pre-plumbed into a house is a thing of beauty for someone like me. I mean, growing up and never having a dishwasher and then having a property that you live in that does have one, that's quite a statement, ModCon. But
you've made it.
Yeah,
you've made it.
I've done it. But no, it's really nice. And for someone like me who is a bit of a DIY phobe, a bit of like I throw everything into what I do at work. So by the time I get home, I don't want to sit there like building appliances, looking for appliances and setting up my house. To have everything completely there, built in, and it look like it's meant to be there was just brilliant.
Is that one of the reasons why you chose Simple Life then?
Well, yeah, it's funny how I came across Simple Life actually, is because we saw the house available to rent, and then I didn't even realise that there was agents like Simple Life, that there was companies that looked after rental properties, if you like. So that was a discovery for me and my housemate.
So how long have you and Charlotte been renting
Dating.
together? No, no, this is what we're going to come on to. How long have you and Charlotte been... so you met in the house share, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. Well, so I was in the house share at the time, and I was desperate for some people to come and work an event for me about 10 years ago now, nearly, and she was available, so I was like, oh, come along, come and work. Got on really well with her and a few other people, and that's when I kind of developed into living with those, and then we've just been best friends. So we've. And
I was going to say, you're best friends. You're not a couple.
Not a couple.
Not a couple.
But we have rented previously when we lived in the flat. I don't want to, throw anyone under the bus, but it was assumed because I was a man and Charlotte was a girl that we were a couple, and obviously me being gay, it was a little bit awkward to correct that sometimes. I mean, there was an awkward moment where we did get a complaint about a female singing in the bath, but that was me. But I did say I'll let Charlotte know. But renting with Simple Life, I don't feel like there's any assumed knowledge, so it's not like, oh, they're a couple, or so this is where, when we were looking around the house, oh, this is to the couple's bedroom. There's none of that kind of terminology, which I think is quite nice, really. I think it's nice to have people that are mindful that maybe not everyone is the conventional setup, especially in a house like that. You could argue that is me and Charlotte getting down for nesting and bringing up some kids, but the only thing I'm bringing up is Pluto, and then that's it. I'm going on a round the world cruise.
So how did you discover Simple Life then, Brett?
So it was at the height of lockdown. 2020, and obviously me and Charlotte were walking morning, noon and night, just like everybody else, because there was literally nothing else that you could do, and we decided that we were going to get a dog. Quickly realised that the dog wasn't the Labrador I'd hoped for, but I do love him. I do love Pluto. He was a crossbreed and was essentially a small horse. So we thought, we need some space, we need some garden space. So I found on, the rental sites, a house that looked really new, nice new build, which is exactly what I want, because I don't want to live in a Victorian house that needs a lot of work doing to it. But I didn't even realise that it was companies that did build to rent. I'd always found that there was, I always thought it was people that might have inherited a house off like their nan or great uncle, and thought, oh, we'll make a little bit of money out of that. So for me, it was like a totally new discovery when I was looking for somewhere to rent, and how easy it was to chat to what felt like a professional team that have a team sat behind a computer, rather than texting someone and getting a response off a potential landlord 3 days later. So for me, it was quite nice knowing that it was all wrapped up into one company, one point of contact.
And to be able to bring your dog, bring Pluto as well.
He loved it. Ran straight in the garden.
But
freedom.
But there's a lot of rental companies and landlords don't allow pets, so that must have been massive.
I mean, yeah, it was a source of frustration when we were in the flat previously, because they weren't allowing pets, and I knew that I wanted one. So it all happened like really quickly during lockdown. It's that I wanted a dog, and then it was looking for somewhere to live. So that was quite it was quite well timed for me.
So what would you say are the benefits of living where you are in a Simple Life home, in a build-to-rent home? What would you say? What are the benefits?
Having everything installed from the off is a great thing for me, like being able to not worry about any of that. If there's a problem in the house or something needs fixing, there is a professional team. You can submit a ticket and it feels like I'm actually speaking to a customer services rather than waiting for a landlord to maybe fix something. So that's always, it's having that safety net, I suppose, suppose, for me. But also it feels like it's my own house as well. And with being a presenter and being here, there and everywhere, because buying a house is expensive, and a lot of people in my generation will struggle to get on the property market. Being able to have something that it does feel like it's my home, and that it could be my forever home if I wanted it to be, but if I needed to move to Ibiza tomorrow, then it doesn't feel like I'm always restricted. And I feel like that is the great thing with Simple Life, for me.
So you're 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there's any pressure to get on the property ladder, because there's a lot of people that age trying to get into, like, trying to own a property? Are you feeling that stress or not?
I think I probably would have done a few years ago, especially when we were in the flat, and it felt like I was seeing a lot of my friends moving from flats into their first houses. Oh, I've just bought, and there's always that picture of like friends with the keys holding it in front of the door, and you think, oh, is that ever going to be me? But for my Simple Life house, it feels like I'm not tied into staying there forever. If I wanted to go and move to London, because the nature of my life means that I might need to move, I don't feel so much that there's the stress of selling a house, looking for a new property. But equally, it is a struggle, like being able to get onto the property market. If I wanted to move into buying, I would have to look at compromise on space, maybe quality of the house, and what I get is so reasonable. I get a really big garden that is brilliant for the dog, I get all the built-in mod cons, and I get space to have a spare room, and I think that at the age of 30 is not bad.
And like you said, you've got that safety net. If there's anything, you've said, you're DIY phobe, would you say? You're not not a big fan of it. How great is that? You can just it's
brilliant. It's a blank canvas as well, so if I did want to do anything with the rooms, not that I ever would, other than maybe do a bit of painting, but I get bored easily, I probably wouldn't. It's all there and it's all ready to go, and for me, I really enjoy it. So
tell us about your interactions with the customer service team you've had with Simple Life. Give us some examples when you've had to work with them.
For example, when we first moved in, there was some problems with the drain in the garden, and we were able to put a support ticket in straight away, and it was rectified. We had someone out, which literally within the week, if they book an appointment, they come and sort it out. If there's a problem with an appliance, I feel like they're just there at a tap away, and it's literally on a support on the app. You go on the app and you literally fill out the details, and literally by the end of the week, you've had someone there assessing the problem. So for me, when I've rented with landlords who have inherited the house from a great aunt, those things can take time, because obviously they're putting their own money behind it, whereas having it feeling like it's a professional company, it's like a security blanket. And
naturally, when I've been in situations like you feel a burden ringing people and texting people, like with a private landlord. It's no way to live, is it?
And I also feel like there's the balance as well of, you don't want to annoy your landlord as well, because you don't want them to think negatively of you. So I think there's a whole psychology to it sometimes. Absolutely. Whereas I think with Simple Life, it removes that kind of that too personable approach, where it doesn't feel like you're annoying someone that might jeopardise your living. So the fact that it all feels above board, regulated, it makes me feel a lot happier.
That's good. And you do seem very happy. You seem you seem very happy. You seem very good. So you live in Salford at the moment. That's where you are.
Yeah.
And how are you finding Salford?
I love it. I mean, it's really convenient where we're placed. It's on the Havenswood estate, so there's loads of things going on there all the time. I weirdly live on the same estate as my boss. He lives literally at the other end of the estate.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
I mean, it's good for me. I get a free carpool into work, so
great.
It's all right for me until I have to buy in breakfast from Greg's once or twice a week. But no, it's a really nice area, and it feels safe. I feel like I'm part of a community. There's a WhatsApp group, security alerts, there's Facebook groups that we all communicate on. A lot of the time there's been things over the Platinum Jubilee, there was street parties, and it feels like I'm actually, which I think is a rare find in a city, to find like a community that put on these things, and it feels like my neighbours are all really nice. I know all 5 of them in our little block, and we all speak and talk to each other and chat more on a friend level. It's not too far from any transport links, so for me, I've got family back home in the Midlands and a bit further down south as well. So being able to just jump on the motorway is convenient. Being able to jump into the city with the Met and the train station just down the road is really helpful. So for me, I'm quite nicely placed.
It's a great little community. Are you all similar ages then, or are you different, varying ages?
It's a real mixed bag. I mean, we've got our neighbours on the left have a small child. On the right, they've got some older teenagers, and then a little bit further down, there's some people that don't have kids that are a little bit closer to our age. So it is just a really nice mix of people. It feels like anyone could literally rock up, and I feel like they would be welcome with open arms. And it's quite nice to see people interacting on the estate as well. Like, I've just heard a dog barking. Do you need me to go and sort something out? Oh, your house alarm is going off. There's a lot of people that are really happy to help, which feels quite nice. It feels like if there was ever a problem with Pluto or he was whining or something like that, not that he would, but yeah, it feels nice. It feels like it's a nice community.
And it's just that one level of stress and worry you don't have to have, you know, because you hear about people having trouble with their neighbours, trouble with this, that and the other. It's so, hence the simple life.
I would say we do have no problems with neighbours. We really enjoy living there. We all keep ourselves to ourselves, but also we enjoy the company of the neighbours. So it's, I suppose, whatever kind of life you want to live there, there's that opportunity for you, I suppose.
Fantastic. And you were talking about maybe one day work taking you down to London. There's plenty of Simple Life properties down in London as well. Yeah, they're all over the UK, so wherever it goes.
We'll have a conversation in a bit about this.
We'll have a chat later. So, what's going to be next career-wise then, Brett? Do you...
I don't know. I want to do more. I want to travel more, go and see more. There's a lot more abroad trips coming up at work, so hopefully I'll be on a cruise ship in the next couple of months doing some kind of report from the middle of the ocean with the sun.
You just want to be the new Jane McDonald, don't you?
I do want to be the next Jane McDonald. That's what I'm gearing myself up to be. There we are. Come on, Jane, move over. Your time's up. It's time for me.
Well, Brett, it's been great having a chat with you today on the Simple Life Chat. It's so nice to hear somebody really embracing living the simple life, loving where you live. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. So
thank you for having me.
Carry on. Hopefully you have many more years with you and Charlotte and Pluto. And
well, maybe not just with Charlotte, but maybe me and Pluto.
And good luck with your career. Thanks for having a chat with us today. And nice one. Cheers, Brett. Thank you. You can find out more about renting with Simple Life at simpelifehomes.co.uk. Next time on the Simple Life Chat, we're talking pets with our first Simple Life Petcast. See you then.